worst years for forest fires in recent history. Colorado, California, Oregon, Washington, Wyoming are all affected. I wound up skipping a large part of my plans in northern Colorado just because the smoke was affecting my sinuses so badly, so I continued north into Wyoming. The smoke was still pretty thick outside of Jackson. I ended up driving around for about 3 hours until I found this really cool spot, Curtis Canyon Campground. It's a dispersed camping area right outside Grand Teton. This had been kind of a rough day just because of constant sinus headaches. I didn't realize how badly I was affected by forest fire smoke, but I know now because I lived in it for essentially 9 days. The other surprising part about this leg of the journey was how crowded Jackson, Wyoming was, and the 2 national parks in general. It looked like Disney World. I actually felt like I was driving through rush hour traffic, and I arrived at this campsite really late, so I knew I only had a few hours of daylight left, so I had to throw dinner together really quickly. The bear population in this area is very dense, so they suggest that any trash that you have at night, hang it in a tree. I have the trashery on the back of the Jeep, but I know if I left that in there, I would have woken up to a big mess in the morning. That didn't work. National Forest Service suggests when you hang your trash, make sure that it's at least 10 feet up off the ground, and also make sure that it's 4 feet away from the tree or whatever vertical thing you're hanging your trash from, just so no animals can climb up and kind of reach over to get the bag. First wild grizzly bear. Got lucky, got a site at Grant Village in Yellowstone. These were a couple of my neighbors. Couldn't believe my good luck to get this spot though. Everything I had checked before this was completely booked, so I got really lucky. Just a one night stay, and well worth it. Definitely a mark off of my bucket list. Did y'all know that Butte, Montana has the largest historical downtown district of any city in the country? Well, now you do, and now I do as well. This was an interesting stop. Miles and miles of these old historic buildings. I was really impressed, and you could tell money used to flow through this town. It was probably really a sight to see in its heyday. Pushing on to Eureka, Montana by the Canadian border, I was starting to get pretty bummed because of the amount of smoke. I was surprised that this far north it was still being affected. Oh, but look. Is that some blue sky I spot? 9 days. And finally, I start to see some blue sky, and that began to really lift my spirits. Guess what? That's Canada over there. Of course, Canada's closed right now because of the COVID crisis, so too bad I can't go to Canada right now. I decided to go to Canada, but I'm gonna get out of here. It's pretty overgrown, and I just walked past some bear scat. Is that illegal? Hey man, they should have had a wall. Ever since the very unfortunate baloney incident, I've been pretty careful about keeping the cooler stocked full of ice and making sure everything's been rotated. But unfortunately this evening I went to go grab some organic beets I had picked up, which I was looking forward to. I went to cut into them. They were really, really mushy, so I ended up throwing them out. So score another one for the cooler. Definitely think the next investment I make in the Jeep will be a Dometic fridge or whatever brand, just to make sure that my food doesn't go bad anymore. So it was sausage and instant potatoes for dinner, and nothing wrong with that. It was actually pretty good. I just think I need to make a better effort to eat more green vegetables on this trip and probably lay off the snacks from the gas station, beef jerky and pork skins. For everybody wondering how I've been charging my devices every day, the answer is solar farming. I purchased this 100 watt solar panel that Jackery makes, and I've really put it through its torture tests. I've used it every day. It's jostled around on the back of the Jeep and it's held up really well. It's a little scuffed up, but it's still working great. I got the 240 watt power bank that you plug into. It takes a little while to charge up if it's not in direct sunlight. Obviously with all the smoke it's been a little harder to charge, but I think a great investment if you're doing any outdoor extended off-grid living. I would suggest picking one of these up. Whoa, you're not going to put cheese on it? I know what you're thinking. I actually didn't have any cheese, but the sandwich wound up being so good, it didn't really even need cheese. Well, it's finally time to leave my little mountain oasis along the Canadian border and push into Glacier National Park. So, seen Glacier. That was awesome. The park itself was extremely busy. The other thing was about half of the park is actually closed down right now. So you go up going to the Sun Road, and I pretty much just went as far as I could, and then they make everybody turn around and go back. And all the campgrounds are closed except for Fish Creek, and I knew that was going to be an issue. They're booked through October, which is, I believe, when they end up closing the campground down for the season. So I ended up getting a hotel for the next couple of nights, and sometimes that's good to just get off the road and not be outside for a little bit. I've been on the road now for over a month, and that's the longest I've ever traveled, lived out of a car and lived out of bags and stuff. So it's been a little rough. It's been a lot of fun, and I've seen some awesome stuff, but I feel like I'm getting a little road weary. There's a little bit of isolation anxiety, I would call it. I mean, I'm meeting people, but I do miss my friends and my family. You know, I think that just comes with traveling, and it's something you have to kind of deal with. I think the other thing I need to work on is eating a little bit better, eating healthier. I cook all right stuff for the videos, but then when I'm not filming, I'm usually just in a hurry, and I'm cooking those Mountain House dehydrated meals, which, I mean, they're not really like bad for you, but they're not good for you either. So probably need to eat a little bit better. I've been skipping meals too, and then I get grumpy and frustrated and not drinking enough water just because it seems like I've been in a rush. But that last week driving through northern Colorado up through Wyoming, I was rushing because I was just trying to get out of the smoke. My sinuses were so swollen from the smoke, and they're still kind of messed up. Every morning for about 30 minutes I would have a bloody nose, and so that was just kind of a mess. I didn't realize that. Talked to a park ranger. I was like, how do you guys, work out in the smoke all the time? And she was like, oh, well, we're fine, but if you're feeling, effects, then you're part of this, like, sensitive group category. I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like, well, I've always had pretty bad allergies. She was like, yeah, you shouldn't be outside if it's affecting you. And I'm like, well, I've been living outside for a while. But so it was good to get a hotel room, kind of give my sinuses a break. I think the next step, my plan was originally go up to Glacier and then kind of come back down the west coast through California. But with all the wildfires going on, I'm going to call an audible, and I'm going to go east. And I've never been east, so this could be a new adventure for me. I've never been to the Dakotas. I think that'll be the next step along the way. But eventually the Appalachian Mountains is going to be what I hit. So I think that's it for this week's episode. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, give it a thumbs down. If you want to come along for the ride, hit the subscribe button. I guess I'll catch you all down the trail. That's so cheesy. I need a different one. Catch you all down the trail. Well, that's not 10 feet. Ridiculous.